Alright guys, I'm Sawyer Smoke, and today we're going to be taking a little trip to Fort Fisher, just south of Curie Beach, North Carolina. And I'm going to be telling you the story of Robert Herrill, aka the Fort Fisher Hermit. Let's see where this one takes us. Alright, to start our journey, you need to come to the Fort Fisher State Recreation Area Visitor Center. Really nice facility with some beach access and restrooms. We're going to come this way. And this is going to be the start of the Basin Trail, and we were headed to the World War II bunker. So before we start our way on down this trail, I want to take the time to tell you guys a little bit about Mr. Herrill and how he wound up here and how he became known as the Fort Fisher Hermit. Robert was born in 1893 in Shelby, North Carolina, and by most accounts lived a fairly normal early life. He had 5 children, was married, he was an educated man, he went to high school and college, but after his eldest son, Alvin, committed suicide, his mental health started to decline, and understandably so. His declining mental health led to the divorce from his wife, and his divorce led him to be institutionalized at a mental facility in Morganton, North Carolina, where in 1955 he checked himself out on his own free will and hitchhiked over 250 miles from Morganton to Carolina Beach, where he found refuge in an abandoned World War II ammunition bunker, which we'll see later in this video. I want to tell a story about Robert because not a whole lot of people my age know about it. Not even a whole lot of people outside the local area know about him, and I think it's just a fascinating story. The guy lived in this bunker for 17 years through the elements, surviving nothing on but food he caught himself or what people brought him. He was a huge local tourist attraction. At one point it was said he was the second biggest tourist attraction, only to be beat by the USS North Carolina battleship that's up in Wilmington. So I hope you guys can take this walk with me, and I hope you can learn something from the video. So let's go check it out. Here's another little wildlife sign. Some things you might see. The Fort Fisher scavenger hunt. Plenty of live oaks in the area. Dune blue curl, I guess it's a type of flower. Ghost crab. Snowy egret. The fiddler crab. The Indian blanket, which you'll see plenty of them. And the green anole. It says here Carolina anole. We just call them anoles here. And over past these dunes is actually a 4-wheel drive beach where you can still drive on the beach. It's kind of rare here now, but you can still drive on the beach out here. Like I said, plenty of markers keeping us on the right path. No chance of getting lost or missing anything. If you do choose to make the trek, I recommend not wearing Vans slip-ons. They're not doing too well in the sand right now. As you're walking along this sandy path, there's plenty of little shells and stuff broken up in here. I'm by myself today, but if my wife was with me, we would be out here for a good while because she loves looking at shells. These trees are so cool. Look at that. Another sign for the trail. We've got 0.3 miles to go, so we're doing pretty good. Another sign about the wildlife you might be able to find in the area. Oh, the wooden platform was nice, but we're back to sand, which sucks in these shoes. It's all good. First world problems, complaining about walking on a beach trail. But there's another one shortly after that one ends. I love seeing all these little marsh pools. The grass is just a beautiful, beautiful area. So it started sprinkling a little bit, which is no big deal because we are almost to the bunker. I think I see the sign right up here for it. And here we are. This is the ammunitions bunker that Robert Herrill spent the final 17 years of his life living out of. Through the elements, anything from light rain like we're dealing with right now to full-blown hurricanes right here on the North Carolina coast. So from where this was formed with wood, it's made out of concrete or cement, but from years ago where they had wood forms, you can still see the wood grain from the forms all these years later. Amazing. It's not only cool to think about the Fort Fisher, the Hermit side of things, the history with this bunker, but also the World War II history with this thing. This thing has seen so much in relatively such a short amount of time and a lot of changes, and it's really insane to think about. Now, years ago, they had a historical plaque talking about the history of the bunker and Robert Herrill, and the plaque keeps getting stolen, unfortunately, and it's been missing at least since my first visit here, which was about a year ago this time. And I emailed the Historical Society of Fort Fisher, and I never really got a response back. So I'm assuming that there's no plans to replace it if people keep stealing it, which is unfortunate but understandable. It is truly hard to imagine a guy living out here for 17 years, no running water, no electricity, no means of food other than what he caught and what people would bring him, braving the elements. I mean, we get bad hurricanes here on the coast of North Carolina, and he survived it all right here. It's truly amazing when you think about it. This actually ended up being the site of his death as well, unfortunately. He was found dead right inside the bunker. It was reported that it was a heart attack, but there's plenty of people that believe it was a homicide. I've heard reports about there being drag marks from his body, from the sand back into the bunker. He was found inside the bunker, but people believe he was either beaten to the point of having a heart attack or similar means and drugged back into the bunker. Long reports of people bothering him coming down here, robbing him, beating him up, trying to steal his stuff. You know, it's hard to comprehend why someone would want to steal stuff from a guy who had so little to begin with. You know what I mean? He was just living, you know, pretty bare means, as you can imagine. There's a couple different theories on why Robert Herrill was murdered and why would someone would want him dead. The most popular being development. There was plans to develop this area, and they wanted him off. Now, whether that's true or not, it's never been solved, but it seems to be a very popular theory among locals and people who were around during that time. All right, saying goodbye to the Hermit's bunker. It's so crazy to me to think about how many people came to visit Robert Herrill just because they were so amazed at his lifestyle. You know, this guy was essentially homeless, and these people would come and bring him food and, you know, just wanted to see what he was about. He always preached about the school of common sense. That was his thing. He just wanted to teach people to live a simpler life, and he did. He lived by what he spoke about. He was in the process of writing a book before his death, and I don't think anything's ever materialized or been saved from that. I would love to see some of, you know, his original notes, but I think sadly all that's been lost to time. I'm off the walking path by just a little bit because I happened to notice on my walk back these concrete like pillars sitting here, so I decided to walk over here and just see what they were. I'm assuming they have got something to do with the ammunitions bunker, you know, from World War II. These are probably put here from World War II. But someone has painted the Fort Fisher Hermit right there. So I ended up looking into this one a little bit more, and I ended up finding out that this writing was actually originally placed there by Robert Herrill himself to serve as a guide for people that were coming to visit him. So I guess when people would see this, they would know they were getting close to his bunker. So I thought that was a really cool added bonus to be able to find and add in here. Another little interesting tidbit with the Fort Fisher Aquarium right here is that the house from Weekend at Bernie's would have been built somewhere over here. That's all I know. Obviously, with the dunes constantly changing, there's nothing to line up. There's no way to tell exactly where it was built, but it was built in this general vicinity and torn down after filming. That's all I've ever heard. Is it was built on the sand behind the Fort Fisher Aquarium, which would be right over here somewhere. Might be right where we're standing, who knows, but it's impossible to tell. Thought that was a little interesting mention of the day. We're back in the car now. Beautiful, beautiful little trail. Always recommend, if you're in the area, going and checking that out. I think now we're going to go ahead and check out Mr. Herrill's final resting place. So we're here at Federal Point Methodist Church Cemetery, and we're going to see if we can find where Robert Herrill is buried. So apparently this is a historic graveyard and home site for some of the early settlers in this region. in the lower New Hanover County around 1790. Very cool. It's on the National Register of Historic Places as of March 13th, 1997. Now, I'm not too sure where Robert is actually buried in here. So I don't know if it's going to be in here or if it'll be, oh, we might have just found it actually, because I see some seashells. Oh wow, I didn't think it was going to be this easy to find him. Robert E. Herrill, the Fort Fisher Hermit. He made people think. February 2nd, 1893, June 4th, 1972. You see all the little gifts that people have left him, some toy cars. A lot of toy cars for some reason. I don't know if he had a thing for that or what. Fishing bobber. Someone's left a photo of him in a boat. Looks like he was fishing for something. It's propped up by a cross. Lots of shells that people have brought. Old skillet with some change in it. People say he used to have a pot outside the bunker where people could leave him money if they chose to. I do want to add, this was not his first resting place. It is his final resting place, hopefully, but it was not his first. He was buried initially at a different cemetery off somewhere else in Carolina Beach. Not sure where, I wasn't able to find it. But the reason he's here is because in the mid-80s, his body was exhumed because the family wanted a second autopsy. They did not believe that he died of natural causes. They fully believed that he was murdered, and they wanted to prove that. Unfortunately, the autopsy results proved inconclusive at that point. It had been over 10 years, 12 years since he had passed, and you know, at that time I guess forensics weren't good enough to prove anything, or if he wasn't actually murdered. Who knows? Who knows? It's still a mystery to this day. I'll let you guys form your own opinion on that. Very cool old graveyard though, that I didn't even know this was a part of back in here. I thought it was fairly newer graves, but these are very old graves. I didn't think his grave was going to be that easy to find. I'd always heard, you know, on write-ups online that he was buried separate from the cemetery, and I guess that rings true because here's Robert's grave, and here is the main cemetery that has fairly newer graves in it. But Robert is actually buried within the Newton Historic Cemetery. So if you guys want to come visit him, he's on the Newton side of the cemetery. So I wanted to end the video on a little bit of a lighter note here with this mural of the Hermit. This is painted on the back side of the Last Resort bar here in Carolina Beach. You can't miss it. It's right on the main drag right here in Carolina Beach. Beautiful mural. School of Common Sense. That's what he tried to teach people. We've actually got a guy touching up the paint on the Last Resort bar right here. Touching up the lettering. Well guys, that's going to wrap this video up. I hope you learned a thing or two about Mr. Herrill and his life from it. I hope you can like and subscribe. It'll help the channel grow, and let's see where the next one takes us. Thanks, guys.